Yahweh's peace be with everyone. Please take your seat. Let's go ahead and put up, we've already got it up. Thank you. Take a close look there at the title slide. Behold the man whose name is the branch, part 3, menorah. Remember, very important to pronounce that correctly. It's menorah, not menorah, and we're going to see why here. Let's go to the first slide. Now, this is from the 12th book, part 1, chapter 14, verse 11. Pastor says, that cloud was sitting right over the top of that homestead, and with the perfect donkey and the perfect pack on his back, and he had the attention of that cloud in front of him that later Yahweh put in front of the Feast of Lights. Feast of Lights moon. Feast of Menorah moon. You get it? Feast of Menorah moon. The lights, the 7-lamp lampstand. It's menorah, my work. This is my work. Now, he's talking about the Feast of Trumpets on 9/28/2011 when they were watching for the new moon, and Yahweh put that same olive tree in the sky behind that cloud there, that dark cloud on the right, that he put that donkey was looking at on 8/25/2011, the exact same one. And you can go to the 12th book of Israel, part 1, and read the whole account of how all those things took place. But the Feast of Menorah was the Feast of Trumpets, Feast of Lights, or the trumpeters, the 7 trumpeters. Put in the Feast of Menorah, you get 1074. That's the tag number of our great pastor, Yisrayl Hawkins, given to him by Texas in 2016. And the second number, 585, means manifestation, demonstration, from 584, to exhibit, show forth, prove, approve, openly declare someone who has been appointed to an office. Keep that in your mind. Let's go to the next slide. Remember the donkey. Remember the song that donkey was staring intently at something shaped like an olive tree. What could this mean? Put that in. The first number you get is 750, which means chief shepherd. That's used in 2nd Kepha, talking about Yahshua, the chief shepherd. The second number, 4500, goes to 5216, and it means light, lamps. Look what word it is. Menorah. Menorah. Look at that. Menorah. A lampstand. The third number, 4277, means to foretell and predict. Does that ring a bell? Something about foretelling? Let's go to the next slide. We'll see. 2 olive branches on the menorah. The 2 witnesses, 1962, when they began their radio show in Eastland, Texas. And the second number, 2480, means able, have power, much work. From 2479, strength, power, ability. From 2192, receive, obtained, hold, ability, and show. Now, that goes to Revelation 11:3, where it says, and I will give power. That means authority. In other words, it was foretold that these 2 would be given this authority to my 2 witnesses to perform their prophetic offices, and they will foretell events about the 3.5 years. Remember in Isaiah 44:7, where it says, let them, the 2 witnesses, foretell them. They're given this. It's a power that Yahweh gave them. It's an authority, an office that was given to them by Yahweh. Notice you can also put in 2 witnesses on the menorah, and you get 1962. Isn't that a coincidence? Let's go to the next slide. Add up 2 olive branches on the menorah, 1962 plus 2480, you get 4442. In Hebrew, that means Melchizedek. Melchizedek. And 4442 in Greek means fire. It's the word used in Revelation 4:5, where it talks about the 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne. You see it right here? You see it right here? The 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne there. Also on the sea of glass, where Yahweh he sees his whole plan laid out. Remember what pastors taught us. Remember Revelation 4:5 says, and there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which signify and represent the complete plan of Yahweh. You know, the whole 7 works of Yahweh. Let's go to the next slide. And that word, you remember Melchizedek, these 2 witnesses were sent in these last days to form a priesthood after the order of Melchizedek. So put in a priesthood after the order of Melchizedek, you get 395, which means a rising of light, the east. Remember? Eastland, Texas, a rising of light, the law that was taught in Eastland, Texas in 1962. The second number, 2370, means behold, see, or witness. From 2372 to prophesy. Remember, I will give them power and they will prophesy about the last 3.5 years. The third number, 1636, means olive tree, olive trees. Remember the 2 olive trees, the 2 witnesses. Add those numbers together, 395, 2370, and 1636, you get 4401, and it's the word Malachi, which is really Malachiah, which means my messenger. From 4397, messenger, messengers. 4397 is the word Malach. Remember? The Malachiah. Malachiah means the messengers of Yahweh. Not just any messengers. Remember, Malachi takes the word out, takes Yahweh's name out. Let's go to the next slide. Put in menorah. You see Pastor's lot number 74? It means father of light. Father of light. It's from 2 words. Number 1, which means father, and from 52:16, which means light and lamps. See that word menorah? See it? Menorah. Remember, Yahweh is the father of light. Put that in, you get 1596, which means voluntarily or willingly. Remember, the donkey was looking at the olive tree? It's not attached by ropes, it's voluntary, remember? And 1934 is the second number. That's when Pastor was born, right? And it means behold. Remember, to behold the man whose name is the branch. And it means to cleave, which means to join, attach yourself to. Attach yourself to the work voluntarily, like the donkey here you see staring at the tree. Let's go to the next slide. Put in menorah, golden 7-lamp lampstand. You get 1637, which means olive oil, which you need for the lamps. From 1636, and it means olive tree, olive trees. Now, who are these olive trees? Well, the 7 prophesied works of Yahweh is what this menorah, or the golden 7-lampstand, represent. All the works from Abel to this present work. Let's go to the next slide. Here's an amazing coincidence. Put in the 2 olive trees, the 2 olive branches, the 2 anointed ones, the 2 witnesses. Zechariah 14:11 through 14, and Revelation 11:3 and 4. And you get 1:1:1:1, which is when Pastor gave his sermon on 1:1:11 before he saw the donkey, about the 2 witnesses. The 2 witnesses and their end time work. I like to call it the Great Reset. 1:1:1:1, Pastor gave a sermon right here on Sabbath day about the 2 witnesses that went into this magazine that's still online right now from 2011. They took the works from that sermon and put them in this magazine about the 2 witnesses. The other number, 6666, means righteousness, morally right. From 6663, to be just or righteous. Wow, what a coincidence, right? Let's go to the next slide. Zechariah 4:11 and 12 and 14 says, Then I answered and I said to him, What are these 2 olive trees upon the right side of the lampstand and upon the left side of it? Then I spoke to him again and said to him, What are these 2 olive branches, which through the 2 golden pipes empty the golden oil through them? Then he said, These are the 2 anointed ones who stand for the supreme ruler of the whole earth, the 2 witnesses that stand for Yahweh in these last days. The 2 lights, the east and western light. Put in the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands of the 7-lamp lampstand, Revelation 11:4 and Zechariah 4:11 through 14. You get the number 52:14, which comes from 52:16, and it means light, lamps, menorah. You see that? Menorah, menorah, my work. This is my work. There is no other. Remember, there is no other. 1074. Put it in, you'll see. Let's go to the next slide. The western light on the menorah, western light of the 7-lamp lampstand. Again, you get 750, chief shepherd. That's Yahshua who's overseeing this work. The second number, 4,500, light lamps, menorah again. Are we running out of excuses? I'd say so. Let's look at the next number, 4724, and it means gathering together. Remember, don't forsake the gathering of yourselves together at the house of Yahweh every Sabbath. A hope, abiding, from 6960, to gather together, to tarry, to wait upon, or wait on, patiently. And 4727 in Greek means gather up, withdraw from. Remember, separate from the world, arrange, set in order, and equip. Remember, who as I will foretell and set it in order for me. Isaiah 44:7. Remember, who will do it. Remember the 2 witnesses. Remember that? Let's go to the next slide. Now here's an amazing coincidence. This is actually take the slide down for a moment so I can explain something. I don't want people looking at that. I want them to listen to me. You remember menorah, right? Nora, pastor gave us all those sermons about menorah, what that menorah meant. The 12th book of Israel was called menorah. Remember the first and second parts. But he didn't reveal the name until Yahshua's memorial in 2012 on 4/5/12. He didn't reveal the name. He kept calling her Dada. Remember that? D-A-H, D-A-H. He said Dada. He wouldn't reveal the name until Yahshua's memorial. Now, in Yahshua's memorial, before he gave us the name, he explained why our scriptures are different from the world's. And he said that Yahweh divided the languages. He divided the languages, okay? In other words, he separated our language, instead of saying good, we say righteous. Or instead of, happy, we say beneficial, or we say joyous, right? Our language is different. Remember, the Galileans didn't speak like everyone else. Now, put the slide back up. He explained all that to us. In the 12th book of Israel, part 1, chapter 13, verse 36, Yahshua's memorial, 4/5/12, he says, truly, he said, this is how you're supposed to interpret Matthew 26:11. It's not written the way they write it in the King James. He says, here's how it's truly written. And Yahshua, he's saying, Yahshua's doing the speaking here. Truly I say to you, when the seed of the donkey are bound to the branch, and they gather together to learn about Yahweh, this message will be preached in the whole world, and they must remember Dada. I put Nora in parentheses because it was right before he pronounced the name, and say and be likewise. He said that's how Matthew 26:11 should have been translated, but Yahweh divided the languages. He gave us the right interpretation. The number that comes up when you put in that exactly word for word, what Pastor said it should have been translated as, comes out to 1462, and it means locusts. You know what locusts are? Grasshoppers. So, here's an amazing coincidence. How many of you remembered what today is? Today's 7/3/2021. That means a year ago today was 7/3/2020. And I got a phone call, and I'm sure all of you did, on 7/3/2020 saying, hey, we're going to be fasting at sundown tonight. We're going to have a 2-day trial. Remember that? What did we eat? Yeah, we ate locusts, grasshoppers. You remember that? And the Noras, remember the Noras gave the sermon about all this? The careless weed and the grasshoppers, you remember that? Okay, so 1462 means locust, grasshoppers. If you take the date that Pastor gave us Nora's name for the first time, and you go to July 3rd, 2020, or 7/3/2020, when that 2-day fast was announced, and it began on that sunset on 7/3/2020, worldly time, you get 3011 days. 3011 means exalted. Who is exalted at that time? And who exalted him? Wasn't Yahshua exalted by the Noras? Y'all remember that? It's from 1361, and it means Gaba, and look what it means, locust. Locust. Pastor said locust and grasshopper is the same. It's interchangeable. Is that not an amazing miracle, House of Yahweh? Well, that's not all. Let's go to the next slide. On that same sermon, here's what Pastor said about, remember he was talking about, you can't just have a memorial for a woman without knowing her name, right? You have to know the woman's name. He explained that to us about menorah in this work, this last work. In the 12th book of Israel, part 1, chapter 13, verse 40, Yahshua's memorial 4:5-12, and verse 40, Pastor says, that's how Yahweh separated the people. Remember in Genesis 10, he separated them by dividing their language, and this divided Yahweh's people from the rest of Israel. Put that in, put this in. Put in the correct translation of Matthew 26:6, where the woman with the alabaster jar came to anoint Yahshua to calm him down for his death. Remember that? To bring him calm before he was murdered by the priests in the temple. Put in the correct translation. A woman called Nora came to him with an alabaster jar of very expensive ointment. Look what you get. 750 chief shepherd, that's Yahshua who was being anointed. 4,500, which is light, lamp, menorah. You see that? You see that? Menorah, Nora. Pastor wasn't wrong, was he? Once again, Yahweh shows that our great overseer was right on target. And notice this, the third number, 6358, means a bud. You remember on the lampstands there was buds, blossoms, and flower. You remember that? We'll get into that more next time. We're going to get more into this 7-lamp lampstand, this menorah. Remember, don't say manorah, it's menorah. My work. Not my work, but your work, Yahweh's work. Don't twist my what I said there. It means a bud from 6362, separate. Remember what he just said? This separated the people. This separated us from the world. The correct translation. You want to see another miracle? Go to the next slide. All I changed on this one, instead of saying a woman called Nora, I put in a woman named Nora. I got the same numbers, but only one was different. I got chief shepherd, 750, 4,500, light and lamps, menorah, and the third number, 6385, meant divide. Remember, he divided their languages, and it's used in Psalm 55:10, which says, divide their tongue, divide their language. Huh? How do you do that, Yahweh? Is Yahweh not miraculous? Oh, that's not all. Let's go to the next slide. I got two more miracles. In the 12th book of Israel, part 1, chapter 11, verse 57 and 58, Pastor was describing a woman in the clouds, word for word. But anyway, while that practice was going on, a person took a picture of a cloud over the homestead, and it was this face. I haven't seen it yet, but I will. But it was this face that was looking down, looking back this way toward the sanctuary and down towards the sanctuary from the homestead. A woman was standing by the side of this face and looking down at that face. Now, we just started bringing out, about this woman that's an example, a true example that Yahshua gives us here of. She's that woman. She's the woman of all women. She's greater than the kings and queens of the earth. Praise Yahweh, applause. And one day we're going to resurrect that woman who Yahshua set up as an example for the women. It's not great that man should be without that kind of woman. That kind of woman. Look at the number, drop the 6, 4,500, light lamps, menorah. Again, what a miracle, right? It's Nora is who he's talking about. Was Pastor wrong? Now let's look at the last slide, because Yahshua has a message for you right here. Pastor, from the 12th book of Israel, part 1, chapter 7, verse 34, he said this. Now remember these great signs that Yahshua is giving us, which means he's very active in his house among his donkeys, and his donkeys' colts today. Very active. Put in, he's very active in his house among his donkeys and his donkeys' colts today, just like he said. You get 750, chief shepherd again. Who's that? That's Yeshua, the chief shepherd. Remember what Kepha said, when the chief shepherd appears. The second number, look at it, folks. 4,500 again. Menorah, light, lamps, the 7-lamp lampstand, which we are the western lamp burning brightly today, right? Don't forget these signs that he's giving you. We're not up here just bumping our gums. You know? I don't know how the whole roof ain't jarred off right now. Yahweh just revealed to us that Yahweh, Pastor, was exactly right when he told you her name was Nora. Menorah. So at this time, if you'd all please stand, it's been a great honor and opportunity to speak to you. And I'd like to turn it back over to the great God, Michael Hawkins.
Praise Yahweh. That's some pretty incredible information in that. And revealed to his house. That's the beautiful thing about Yahweh. You know, he teaches us so much, gives us so much hope. Because the world doesn't have any hope. You know, it's just a miserable place out there. And it's a sad, sad situation when you think about it. But Yahweh gives us great joy, especially on the Sabbath day, and that's why we're here together, to learn more. So to learn more about what's going on in the world and see what's going on, to keep our attention span up and being awake and watchful, as Yeshua said, we turn on to the great Kahan Eliyahu.